Hello and welcome to ThePrint. Bangkok is going to host the 6th BIMSTEC Leaders Summit. The grouping, which has been in existence now for 28 years, has in the last 3 or 4 years seen a lot of move for formalization and institutionalization. The charter of BIMSTEC came in 2024, it came into effect. We've seen a lot of activity on how to make this as a regional grouping more active. And for that, I have with me here today, joining us at ThePrint, Ambassador Indramani Pandey, who's the Secretary General of BIMSTEC, and will be the main person over the next 2 days at the various summits, facilitating the conversations amongst the various leaders. Thank you for joining us at ThePrint.
Thank you for having me.
So, like I said in the introduction, this is a grouping that's been there for now 28 years. This is the 6th summit.
Yes.
Since 2018, we've had 3 summits, but in the 20 years before, there were only 3 leaders summits. So, and the charter came into force only in 2024. So, given the sort of slow framework that has been built, where do you see the group going from here? And how do you see this Bangkok summit playing a role in sort of institutionalizing and formalizing and potentially making this a more active regional grouping?
We already have actually all the essential institutional mechanisms in place. So we have 14 to 15 sectors of cooperation already agreed to by the member states. We have created a unique system whereby each member state has been given responsibility for a set of sectors to lead cooperation in those sectors. But all the member states have equal role to play in all the sectors. And as you mentioned, our charter has come into force, and at this summit we'll be approving the rules of procedure. With this, our institutional framework will be in place. The challenge that we face is that how to implement swiftly various actions plan that we have agreed upon, master plans that we have, which have been agreed to by member states. So this is where this summit will make a significant contribution. By in the declaration, there will be certain milestones which member states are committed to achieve. What BIMSTEC Vision 2030 does is that it provides us a roadmap till 2030, and it identifies areas where we must make progress so that we could have more regional cooperation, and in future we could move forward from cooperation to regional integration. So this summit in a way is going to be a milestone summit. Also because Colombo summit was a virtual summit. The last in-person summit where all our leaders were present was in 2018 in Kathmandu. So this in-person summit will provide leaders an opportunity also to interact among themselves, and that in itself will boost regional cooperation, because that political commitment of our leaders will then manifest into more whole of the government approach and more cooperation and initiatives from the member states, from their different ministries and organs.
Right. And like you mentioned, sir, it's been 7 years since an in-person summit. There has been positive momentum, but regional integration is still something that people have been talking about. Whether the 7 member states, Nepal, Bhutan, India, it's over almost 2 billion in population as a grouping at a $4.5 trillion combined economy. But integration as a concept is very low at this moment in time. One of the expected outcomes is this maritime connectivity pact. So could you, sort of explain how the member states are actually actively now looking at the BIMSTEC grouping to promote regional connectivity? What are the expected outcomes, when it comes to the question of connectivity in particular, and in the larger strategic sense? Because India is leading the security vertical of BIMSTEC. So, in the larger sense, that kind of security connectivity, how do you see that playing out from this summit, sir?
As far as connectivity is concerned, it has been a very important sector for cooperation. In fact, at the Colombo summit, we adopted BIMSTEC uh, master plan for connectivity, where the member states have been assigned responsibility to carry out projects within their own territories, linking one another as a part of regional connectivity. As far as the maritime domain is concerned, so this particular agreement is aimed at enhancing maritime connectivity within the region. The importance of maritime connectivity for a region which is basically a maritime space is cannot be overstressed. It's self-evident. What this agreement will try to do is to enhance access for all the member states, cooperation among the ports. It will also look at cooperation in enhancing the infrastructure itself for the member states, so that there will be more opportunities for connectivity. So, by addressing some of the fundamental issues which are impacting on maritime connectivity, this agreement will contribute in enhancing that. As far as surface connectivity is concerned, we are also in the process of negotiating what we call a motor vehicles agreement, which will facilitate movement of vehicles through road from one member state to another. We are also looking at energy connectivity. For example, there is already a MOU signed among our member states to connect our electricity grids, and technical discussions on two policies: one, the basic policy for connecting the grids, and other on technical matters like pricing, etc., is being discussed. Once we have those policies in place, it should be possible for us to interconnect the grids. So, connectivity is being seen in its different dimensions. In digital connectivity, for example, member states are very keen to cooperate, and India has offered to assist other member states in developing their digital public infrastructure. So, that should help us in enhancing digital connectivity. Going back to maritime connectivity, I would like to mention another proposal of India to create a center of excellence for maritime transport, which will also assist in implementation of this agreement. So, we are trying to make progress in connectivity, but we have also made progress in other areas. As I mentioned, we have in most of sectors of cooperation plans of action in place. The implementation of those plans of action has also been underway. We just need to expedite implementation, carry out more capacity building activities among our member states, and all the member states have very important role to play in that process. So, what we are expecting out of this summit is a new momentum to have more cooperation in all those sectors, and if the leaders identify more areas of cooperation, then we'll have the mandate for extended cooperation among our member states.
Right, and this will be the first summit since BIMSTEC has an international legal personality. Uh, there are in the charter. There's this idea of annual summits once every 2 years, more political level meetings. But then, the question I have now is, given that there is this international legal personality, then is BIMSTEC open to welcome more members? And if so, what is the grouping looking at in terms of being open to more members? What are the countries that they would be welcoming as observers, as members? So can you give us a sense of if there's been any discussions or ideas floating on those sides?
As you mentioned, our charter came into force in May last year. So, since entry into force of our charter, there is certainly provision for admission of observers and even new members. But there has been no discussion among the member states on whether there is any desire to have observers. I think BIMSTEC has been focused on consolidating the regional cooperation and to make sure that the mechanisms are placed and we are able to have tangible cooperation on the ground.
Right. And which brings me to last couple of questions. So now the first being, is there movement towards sort of creating a larger BIMSTEC free trade area, an economic area amongst the members? And if so, what are sort of the tangible timelines governments, have to sort of make the BIMSTEC a deeper economic partnership? So,
Our BIMSTEC Vision 2030 does provide a roadmap for early completion of negotiations to have constituent agreements of BIMSTEC Free Trade Agreement negotiated. We have 6 working groups negotiating constituent agreements in trade in goods, in services, also promotion of investment, customs cooperation, trade facilitation, dispute settlement and other legal issues. So we have made progress in those meetings, and we are looking forward to conclusion of those negotiations in future, which will be instrumental in increasing intra-regional trade. But member states' effort are not limited only to negotiation of those constituent agreements. We have also focused on enhancing business to business linkages, and that's why the last year the business summit, which was hosted by CII, was very important initiative, and we are looking forward to more such initiatives from our member states to enhance business to business linkages.
right. And brings me to my last question. So you've been Secretary General now for a little more than a year, and it's the main role that facilitates these conversations, implementing the initiatives, the action plans, but the Vision 2030 document, once it's signed on Friday, it's bringing together 7 different member states. So in the last year, can you sort of talk about sort of the challenges that you've faced in ensuring the implementation of the various plans, bringing together the leaders for this summit, because it's, I think, been twice delayed now, once before you took over, once after you took over, right? And, all the 7 countries have had massive domestic changes as well, the large number of them. So in that sense, from your experience, could you highlight a little bit about the challenges and the expectations going forward after this summit that you now will face?
I think the greatest strength of BIMSTEC that we have is the commitment of our member states. I have had the opportunity to visit the capitals of all our member states, meet with the leaders, hold consultations with the different ministries. So there is certainly a very strong desire to carry forward cooperation through BIMSTEC. At Secretariat, as you mentioned, we facilitate consultation, coordination, we facilitate meetings, documentation, and we also prepare policy briefs, background papers for our member states. Uh, so the challenge that we face is uh, how to ensure that our member states at the functional level are able to respond promptly and are able to contribute to different initiatives. So the Secretariat is focused on working together with the ministries of foreign affairs and other ministries of the governments to make sure that we have progress in different areas of cooperation, and we are able to implement our actions plan, as I mentioned, the master plans that we have. So our focus in future too will remain on uh, working together with the member states to make sure that the summit declarations, the BIMSTEC Vision 2030, and all the other action plan are implemented promptly. Let me clarify here that it's BIMSTEC is an member state driven organization. They are the one who make all the decisions, and they are also the one who implement their decisions. The Secretariat's role is to facilitate coordination in implementation, consultation among the member states, and at times remind the member states to respond swiftly and promptly to different steps that we need to take. So it's a very practical approach that we have so that we are able to make tangible progress on the ground.
Right, sir. That was my last question. Thank you so much, Ambassador Pandey, for joining the print. And we will wait and watch for the outcomes from the Leaders Summit on the 4th and 5th of April.
Let me conclude by underlining that we are quite hopeful that this summit will provide us the much needed momentum for making more tangible progress on the ground, and BIMSTEC hopefully will emerge as a dynamic and vibrant organization with the reforms and revitalization that we have underway in towards uh, transforming BIMSTEC into a more potent regional organization.
Thank you for that, sir.
It's my pleasure.